get a little bit into what is normal sex. What is a normal sex life? I've had a number of people that are talking about this, asking about, saying, you know, I would like to have a normal sex life. I just want a normal sex life. Why can't I just have a normal sex life? I mean, that's a very good question. And I would like to know, and I always ask them, well, what is the normal sex life to you? And I've heard lots of different kinds of answers, but ultimately the person wants their sex life to be a prescribed kind of activity. They want it to be planned and organized, and to be similar every time, and to be orchestrated. You know, orchestrated in a way that they understand, that they have control, that it makes sense to them, that they also enjoy. They're feeling really good. Their partner's feeling good. They have a nice time. And when they want it, hey, you want to have sex? Yeah, let's go. Doom, 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 doom. The orchestrated sexual activity takes place. It's over. Let's go on. Now let's go for dinner. Where would you like to go? And I found that very interesting, and that there is this kind of idea that there is a normal sex life. I used to think that, you know, I would just like to have a normal sex life. Why is it so complicated? Why do I feel this way? Why do I hear things that don't happen to me? Why do we get upset about certain things? Why does it hurt me sometimes? Why does he not get an erection all the time? You know, so many questions start to come up when you start to think about this normal sex life. That, you know, what is it? So I want to go in a little bit about this topic and talk about, you know, what is a sex life? What is a sexual connection with your intimate partner? And we're going to go down some layers on this, because there's a lot to discover here. And for those of you who watch my stuff, I talk a lot about exploration, sexual exploration of the sexual being, of the sexual couple. And so this is just such a perfect topic, because I think that, again, we put our sex life in boxes. And that's not any fault of ours. You know, we are raised that way. We are told that, here, this is what your sex life is. This is what it's about. Here you go. Enjoy it. And you're coming from people who have had sex lives like that, and probably stop having sex after a certain period of time, because, you know, they're bored out of their freaking minds and they don't know what else to do, and that's all they know. That's all they've ever learned. That's all they've ever been told. Now there are people that I mean, there's just so much out there now. There's so much going on. There's so many things people are talking about around masculine sexuality, feminine sexuality. And so there's just, if you want to do any kind of exploration, the information is happening. It's coming out. The normal sex life paradigm never existed and still does not exist. Just as I just want to lead a normal life really does not exist. You know, we all have such different lives. We are all coming from all sorts of different places and with all sorts of different baggage, and we're coming together with a person that's completely like an alien. Our partners are aliens, really. And yes, we have these connection. We have this energetic connection with that person, and it's usually because we see something in them that really attracts us, and it's usually something that's not present in us. Something that we would like to have, something that's attractive when we see it in other people, and so we see it in this person, and we get really attracted to that. And so, but everything else about that person is just like, it's all sorts of things going on inside of that person. There's all sorts of dynamics and layers and past information and past information and future information and experiences. I mean, there's just so much that you're coming together as two energetic beings to actually begin the melding process. It needs to be an exploratory, experiential process always, and that includes your sex life. I want to get into this not normal sex life, because sex is not, your sex life is not, it cannot be put into a box. And if you think that it can, if you think that it's something that you want to do, you're going to find at some point that it just can't sustain itself. It just gets, the desire energy, the energy of sexuality just burns out. If you look at it like when you come together, there's this big fire burning, right? And you're just like hot and all over each other, and it's so juicy and incredible. And then the fire starts to die down, because that energy, it is motivated for a while, but unless that energy is as big as it was in the beginning, it's going to start to like die down. And so the way that you were first having sex is not going to be possible anymore, because you're not going to be able to build it up with the same intensity as you did in the beginning. It's just going to, and eventually it will fizzle out if you continue to do the same thing, or if you continue to think that you could potentially have a normal sex life, because that does not exist, the normal sex life. And I know if you're here listening to me, and you're with me, you're in my channel, you know that we talk about exploration. And so I want to talk a little bit more about what this sexual life is. I want to talk about how we can get deep into this sexual being that you are and your partner, and you can come together and start creating a sex life. It takes a different energy. And the first thing I want to say is that the sexual realm is a completely different dimension. Okay? Now, you may think that, I don't know, you may never heard the word dimension before. It doesn't really matter. You've heard of the word dimension, but like the idea of going into a different dimension sounds very futuristic. But we've been kind of we're in three dimensions. We have been living in a three-dimensional world, right? And so there's dimensions, 3 dimensions. But the sexual realm is another dimension that exists. I mean, there are many dimensions that exist. The sexual realm is another dimension. It's not part of the 3-dimensional world. It's another dimensional. And you understand this if you've had a mind-blowing sexual experience where you just get completely lost. You don't have any sense of time, space, reality anymore. Your body takes over, the energy of the body takes over. You feel this state of ecstasy and beauty and glory and everything. And you're just a different place. And sometimes you fly off into other realms, into other past lives or other future lives. You just go somewhere else somewhere completely different. And so, therefore, it is another dimension that exists. And that dimension is very different than this dimension, which, this is pretty structured here. This is linear. You're born and then you die in the physical body. You make plans, you have the clock, you have time, you have space, but in this other dimension, there's no such thing as time, space, reality. Again, this is a dimension that requires you to allow your body to take charge. It's a dimension that requires you to really feel. And if you're going into the sexual realm, it's about being very, very honest about who you are, very connected to your truth. And the truth, not necessarily in speaking truth on all levels, in speaking the truth, in feeling the truth, in experiencing the truth for you, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you desire, what you want, being truthful about that, being able to converse about it, to relate the information to your partner in whatever way that is. The reason we get stuck is that we hold back our truths. We hold back information from our partners. We're coming, let's go into the dimension together. Let's go. And you've started and you're there and wow, it's freaking amazing. It's great. You're connecting. And then you kind of lose connection with that dimension because the energy burns out. It's like, how do we get back? How do we get back to that dimension? Like, what the fuck is going on with our sex life? What's happening? we want to get ourselves back into that place. Let's go. What do we do? How do we do it? And you try the same thing, but the same thing doesn't work. And you try the same thing again, but it still doesn't work. And now it's like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you get excited? Why can't you be part of this? And there's a little bit of blame and resentment that starts taking place. I know. These are these are things that happen to us human beings because we lose connection with how do we get into this dimension. And of course now there are so many different ways that you can get into that dimension. There are so many different ways, techniques that are coming out now. But what I'm going to talk about is you thinking about this, one, as another dimension, two, as a complete and total place of exploration, experimentation, and three, a place where you are brutally honest, okay? Brutally honest. And that is a tough one. That's the hardest one because you have to be honest with yourself. So if you and your partner try some of the techniques that I offer or other people offer and you're still not connecting, you have to tell each other that it's not working for me. I don't feel anything. I'm not really coming into it in a way that I don't feel like I'm getting lost here in desire in you. And you have to be strong enough to tell your partner what you're feeling and what's going on for you. And as the receiver of the other side, you have to be strong enough to hold the information. You have to know that this is not something that you're going to take personally, that you are going into this together as a team and you need to work together. You know, if two people are building a spaceship, they have to work together. Well, that doesn't work. I don't think that's going to work. Well, let's try it. Okay, let's try this. Maybe this will work. Maybe that will work. You know, sharing ideas, coming together, two scientists, two explorers working together, trying to make it work. It doesn't work for me. What works for you? That is how you create your sex life. Every time you come into it, you're both feeling different. You're both in a different kind of energetic state, depending what's happened during the day, depending what kind of past and future and all sorts of stuff has come into your life, depending all sorts of things. So you come together, you have to look at your connection, every single sexual connection time you have with your partner as a new experience. A new experience, okay? And so, you know, yes, that sounds like, what? Why can't I just have a normal sex life? But at the same time, isn't that exciting? Like every time you're going to have a new experience, every time you're going to reveal what's going on for you, the truths that are happening within you, and the other truth, you know, other truths, all the truths, you know, what do you desire in this moment now? You know, the moment by moment by moment by moment truth. What do you desire in the moment now? Like, wow, I desire this. I desire that. You know, oh my God, I'm so scared to say it, but I'm going to say it. I desire you to do this. I think that's going to be really turn me on and okay, I'll try that. Okay, or no, I don't want to do that. Like, what else? You know, honesty. Or I'm scared. Like, I'm scared to do that. That's kind of like weird. Okay, yeah, it is, but let's try it. Okay, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's do it. You know, it's an exploration. That's what I mean, experimentation. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't work. Doesn't work? Try something else. It works? Great. Go deeper. Go deeper. Be more brutally honest. Take the next moment, the feeling that comes up. And the next one. Keep connected with your partner. Keep attached to your partner as you do this. Because they're shifting and changing, and you're shifting and changing. So the awareness of each other is really important as you make your way through this, so that you can feel the energy that's coming from you. You can feel what's going on for them. Not just verbally, because they may say something to you, but you feel something else, and then you can say, hey, I know you're saying this, but I feel that you really want to do this. You really, really want to do it. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. It's okay though, you know, like we're in this together. We're partners. We love each other, you know, let's do it. Let's just try it. Okay, let's go together. And if it doesn't work, okay, we've had a fun time. And that's the other aspect. Have fun. Exploring in this dimension is about having fun, okay? It shouldn't be painful, it shouldn't be harmful, it shouldn't be dangerous. Well, you might tip on the edge of danger, yes, but it's about having fun. Have fun. You know, fun can also mean doing kinky things or BDSM type of things, or things that just seem really weird and bizarre, and like, maybe, you know, just, but do it, because the two of you are creating your own dimension. You're creating your own sexual dimension that nobody else has, never exists before, and will never exist again. Each partner, if you're polyamorous, each partner that you're with, it's going to be a completely different dimension that you create with them. And it changes as different people, you know, come into the group or come into the scene. The dimension changes and shifts. It's about the energy of you people, of us coming together, exploring and experimenting our energetic beings, and going into this place that we let go to allow the brutal, honest truth come through. So I hope that has clarified some things for anybody who's thinking about normal sex life. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and click the alarm button. I am going to be talking about all sorts of cool things around sex, love, and life. And thank you very much for coming. Much love making.